Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of our Magnid Monday meeting. I hope you've had a successful start into the new week. My name is Christina, and I will be moderating this session for you. We have an exciting topic for you today, that is the art of matchmaking, building relevant connections 2.0. Some general information beforehand. During this meeting, you can ask all your questions in the Q&A section, which you will find at the bottom bar within this Zoom frame, so our speakers can answer them for you live at the end. In case you would like to join discussions, you can simply click the raise hand button at the bottom and we will invite you to the panel. Should you experience any technical difficulties, you can contact us in the chat button in the upper right corner of our meeting room or within the Zoom chat. Please note that we are recording this meeting and it will be made available on demand in this venue in our media library room next door. I would now like to introduce you all to Julia, who is our sales and marketing expert and is very passionate about matchmaking in a virtual environment. Lisbeth will also be joining the stage with Julia, and she will take us to the next level into the metaverse. We have exciting topics on the agenda today, so please take a seat and enjoy the ride. Now, welcome Julia, welcome Lisbeth.
Hi, everyone, and hi, Christina. Thank you so much for your lovely introduction. And we're really happy to have you here on board with the topic matchmaking. So let's give it a start. Making new contacts and making new relevant relationships is still a central reason for many event participants to attend an event overall. After the last 2 years, everyone is excited going back to face, because still for really many people, it is a contradiction still building human relationships in a purely virtual or even a hybrid setting. For this reason, matchmaking plays a really special role in virtual events overall, because often people assume that these relationships cannot keep up with live interaction. In fact, since many years, virtual communities, such as in the gaming industry, what is probably the most popular example for that, have been forming across entire continents. This means that this concept of connecting with people is working for a really long time already, but we just have to adapt it and make it fit for our needs, actually. Today's session is all about to show you why virtual matchmaking has quite a lot of advantages for participants and for organizers, and that there is a huge potential what is not seen by everyone already. And today we want to change that and to show you, obviously. So everyone knows this kind of events. When you were having some kind of conversations or catch up with people or companies you were not really into because of different expectations, maybe also the focus is a bit different, what you just actually figured out after a really long talk and a really long conversations. So the event you're attending is continuing, you are rushing from one workshop to another one, from one networking event to another one. And sometimes you find super unexpected good matching partners, and sometimes it just feels like a super big waste of time. So here, virtual matchmaking supports and helps to make better matches and save resources, such as time or also motivation by the participant itself. So let's have a look first on 5 big advantages for participants to use virtual matchmaking and see how positive then can be the impact. So first of all, I want to focus on identification. So in most events, depending on the kind of event, obviously, it is necessary to create a user profile with your name, with position, also the company, and also all the interested topics you're into. The creation of this profile can be seen by other users and make it possible to see the full background of a person or even a company. Based on this information, everyone is able to decide by screening the profile if the content could be useful, interesting, or maybe also not so much. So it is a really straightforward information for you. And in the very first step, there's no interaction needed from anyone. Second of all, self-determination. In the most matchmaking tools, sponsors, exhibitors, and also participants can influence with whom they want to be matched with. So they can focus on people of specific groups, specific topics, the interests, the positions, or so ever. So this is working most of the time with specific self-selected filters, what can be edited and chosen by everyone themselves. This gives the feeling of self-determination, and also that they kind of have a choice with whom they want to get in touch with, independent from others or from the organizer or from other influence. Also, independency from random matchmaking generators, what is also really common in many different kind of events, but for many people not really relevant, not a high value, and also unappreciated. And this leads me also to my next point, independency. Independency here mainly from external factors. So when you set up a virtual matchmaking or you set up a virtual match, it doesn't matter about the location, about the destination, about the event. If some money is involved or if some additional costs are happening without a long journey, possible delays of the transportation system, it's super independent and you can join every virtual conversation and catch up and you can always be on point. Clearly, this positive fact is an advantage for every virtual events overall, but really particularly for the matchmaking, it makes matchmaking itself really less stressful, because you want to make a really good impression when you catch up with a person the first time, and it's maybe one of the most important factors for having a good conversation base. This leads me also to the fact of time saving. So AI-based matchmaking can ensure that those participants with the maximum profile overlap will match, and even more important, that they also get to know about this good match. Since events are very limited in terms of time, it is important for everyone to use the resources in the really best way. So many matchmaking tools give you recommendations and show you in number or also in percentage how good the fit is to another person, based on, as I said, the filters and the parameters maybe you set on your own, and your profile details, or even maybe also on your behavior and life actions. So matchmaking becomes in the end much more efficient, what means actually a higher quality in less time. And as always, quality before quantity is key, as we know. And last but not least, we're skipping the small talk. So maybe that's a funny point, but as you all know, small talk isn't everyone's cup of tea. Therefore, the matchmaking tool is a big advantage for such persons. With virtual matchmaking, background checks and the profile screening can help participants to find directly an entry point for potential conversation before the first contact, and they can start already the talk with a really good hook, and then they can skip the polite but maybe even unnecessary start. And we're saying that now we want to jump to the other side, actually, to have a look what is the key advantages for organizers to focus maybe a bit more on virtual matchmaking. So in events, the expectations for organizers is, according to matchmaking, making the matchmaking process for visitors and exhibitors easy, and that they create an easy matchmaking setup. In virtual events, this means with innovative technology, with relevant data, and also with analytics to make a really good base for good matches. Therefore, it's important to find the right approach for yourself and also for your target group, obviously. And here I want now to focus on the positive factors for the organizers. So let's start with individualization. By setting up events, you can create personal user journeys for your target groups. Specific content can already be presented to participants in advance, which simplifies the matchmaking for them, because in the next step, the individualized interaction data can be collected. And that leads us to the very next point. Because of this specific content to visitors, exhibitors, and sponsors, you're going to interact with interact with this content or also you decide not to interact with it. And this gives a really accurate profile, not just based on your predefined parameters by the organizers or maybe attendees themselves. It's much more also gives really relevant value data about behavior and also the live interaction. So for every single person, and it can be used by organizers to refine the matchmaking process. And after or while collecting this data, organizers are also able to measure the matches, what is maybe even more important. And this is one of the really huge advantages about the virtual matchmaking: connect the matches and the interactions with proper numbers. So through analysis tools, which are already integrated in most of the software solutions, match quantity and quality can be measured and evaluated. And furthermore, it also shows which parameters have been set correctly and can be used as KPIs for the future events for the organizers and to learn from them for the future. The next topic is the match quality. Only what can be measured also can be improved. This is a really common saying. So what means that by increasing the quality of the matches, by measuring it, it gives you the chance to increase the satisfaction of the participants. And because in the end, the one who matches the expectations of the audience or even exceed them will be successful. And this is contributing significantly to the subjective success of the event itself. And last but not least, I also want to point out the lead generation, because all the factors I meant now before, through all the factors like targeting the right people with the specific content, collecting the data for a better AI-based matchmaking, you communicate in a really transparent, clear, and also a really direct way to your target group. And in the end, it also brings new leads and opportunities for you and to your business. And now I was talking quite a lot about finding the right match and the right people and the right person in the big event crowd. But matchmaking is much more than that, actually. Nowadays, we can also understand matchmaking as such with the correct and relevant content for everyone. So at an event, you have often a flood of information with a lot of relevant content, but only for a really specific target group. So here I want to hand over to my colleague Lisbeth, who shows you how we handle this on our Magnid platform.
Thank you very much, Julia, and also for this very, very detailed overview of the different aspects of matchmaking and what it means and how important it is. And you are quite right when you say that matchmaking is not limited to matching the right people with each other, but also matching the right people with the right content. And exactly for that, we at Magnid have developed a new feature, which we've called Mediaflex. And it has been designed to structure, personalize, and recommend relevant content to individual members of the audience. So very, very excited to have this. We have been speaking about this in the past, and it's now available. It's available for anyone who receives a new license with us, but it's also available for anyone who already has a license, as we can run an update on your license to make this feature available to you as well. So as Julia mentioned, what we want to achieve with this Mediaflex feature is that we can match the audience with the right pieces of content that is actually relevant for them. So as an event planner, what you can do with this feature is you can group content in categories and personalize it to your target audience. You can build content cards with multiple different file types. So for example, if you have a very nice slide deck that you would like to share with your attendees, you can add a description, as you can see in the example on the right-hand side. And if you want, you can also add some audio files in case you have recorded an additional explanation to your slide deck. So you can create whole content cards to describe or explain one topic. What we can also do is schedule live sessions to support meaningful conversations based on these content cards. So imagine at a medical congress, you are organizing a poster hall. You can invite authors to be present at this virtual meeting to discuss the content they have prepared and submitted to be shared. And once it is time to join their live session, your audience can do so from the content cards. We are also allowing to like content, so audience can like content that they have seen, and that makes it then very interesting for other members of the audience to see which content is most popular, as they will see a top-rated category, and therefore can concentrate on these exact topics, but can also have a say in what they find most interesting, of course. We also have implemented a search bar for these features that allows your audience to search for relevant content based on the different categories that you have created. Coming soon will be a recommendation function based on user behavior or audience behavior and also profiles. As Julia mentioned before as well, if your attendees have submitted a profile based on that information, your audience will be recommended content that might be of interest to them. Commenting is also a feature that will be coming in a second iteration. And just to give you an idea of what this looks like in one of our venues, I have actually prepared a very brief showcase of our Mediaflex feature. In this case, we've just called it the media board. We've created different categories for Nobel Prize winners, for German sites, for soccer clubs, etc. And once you open one of the content cards, this is the one that you have seen in the presentation as well, we do have the option to combine different images or video files, mix and match as you like, really. And here we also have the liking function, and I could join a live discussion from here as I know that the author is currently present. And as you can see, if I start liking items, they will also appear in the top-rated category. The same if I do unlike the items, they will then eventually disappear from this top-rated category. And as mentioned, one of the next features that will be added to this new feature is our AI-based recommendation functionality. Coming back to our presentation, and as Christina already mentioned, we have also elaborated how events could actually work in the metaverse. As Julia has run you through all the different matchmaking opportunities, we also do see a very, very big chance with events in the metaverse. So it allows you to add yet another dimension and therefore also new possibilities when you do run your events. So recently, the metaverse for virtual events has really moved into the focus, and it helps to create new 3D environments where your audience can actually fully immerse with the content and message that you want to deliver at any kind of event. It can be made very custom. It can be made a very personal experience to everyone. So just imagine the same as Julia and Christina and I, we are not in the same place together, yet we're still hosting this webinar together. Imagine that in one of the next Magnid Monday meetings, you will join us in the metaverse. We could actually all sit together at a table and have a look at what we are going to discuss and interact with each other on a, yet another different level. So we have presented this at IMEX already, what we have envisioned, or what we can envision in terms of a demo. In case you're interested, feel free to reach out and feel free to book a demo with us. We are more than happy to run you through this. But before we do so, I would quickly like to hand back to Julia to quickly summarize what we have learned today.
Thank you, Lisbeth, so much for this insight about our metaverse and our new Mediaflex. Yes, so our learnings or insights for today's session, just like a super small, short summary. First of all, virtual communities have been formed and built for really many years already. So the topic is not brand new. We just have to adjust it for our needs and our purpose, but it is already a really established process. And how we saw it has quite a lot of positive factors for everyone. Second of all, virtual matchmaking should be seen as an extra or as an add-on and no replacement for face-to-face. So in the future events, we can benefit from both sides, so online and offline, and from the combination of it. It really just depends on us how we want to use it. And last but not least, with the help of the metaverse and AI data processing, there's still a lot more to come according to matchmaking with persons and also with content, how we saw, and virtual events overall. So there will be more variations, there will be more dimensions. Stay tuned and definitely stay curious.
Thank you so much, Julia and Lisbeth, for these insights. And wow, what can I say? Matchmaking and metaverse. I wanted initially to say the 2 M's, the 3 M's, including the Mediaflex, but I will stick to the matchmaking and the metaverse because I find them two very powerful and relevant subjects nowadays. And I'm definitely sure it's not the last we're going to hear of them. So yeah, stay tuned for more. I would like now to open the floor for questions. And as a reminder, you can ask them via the Q&A button in the taskbar below within this Zoom frame. But before I even allow questions to come in, I would like to ask my own question. Julia and Lisbeth, how can I create a perfect match?
Thanks, Christina. That's actually a really valid question. As it is a really important question, it's not so easy to answer it also. So the point is always that it depends totally on your audience and on the preferences. So for example, when we have a pharmaceutical fair and you are a cardiologist, you can create your profile. So according to that, you will get some matches with other cardiologists and or specific topics. And this is something you can edit. So as a cardiologist, maybe you have specific focuses on maybe you are interested on really rare heart diseases. And according to this filter you are setting, you get also matches if you maybe want to learn more about it. Maybe you want to see some specific workshops or something. And then also according on your behavior in the venue itself, it will give you matches on persons, but also it will give you some specific content. But I think here I would hand over shortly to Lisbeth.
Yes, thank you, Julia. And that is perfect what you just mentioned. When it comes to matchmaking, it is also doing a little homework pre-event, I would say, being able to matching people with each other. It is about that profile information, but also about preferences. It is exactly the same with content. So you might have attendees joining your event that most predominantly want to read about certain topics, or there are those that want to engage in networking discussions or Q&A or Ask Me Anything sessions. And there are those that just want to listen as they are on the go, for example, more the podcast type of format for content. So that is actually also something that you can define as your pre-registration process. For example, define the questions you could ask your attendees to find out what kind of content they do like. And based on that, you can also establish connection. You can personalize the journey, you can personalize the content that every group is going to see, but based on that, you can also bring different groups of people together, I would say.
That sounds fairly exciting, accurate, and to the point. I see, well, in case there are no further questions, I will now end, or we will now together end this session of this Monday, Magnid Monday meeting. I would like to thank everybody for taking the time to join us today. And we do hope that it will help you find the best solution for each of your use cases. As always, we are here to help. So feel free to reach out to our sales team, and we would be delighted to consult you on the best fitting format or support you with our new features. We would also love to hear your feedback, so we kindly ask you to fill out the short survey by scanning the QR code you currently see on the screen. Again, we thank you very much for attending. We wish you a great afternoon, and we hope to see you again.